but also I think you just need to dedicate the time to just say, you know what, I'm not getting rejected for no reason. And I think that a lot of times, and the question I was going to ask, which you already kind of answered, was about like self-worth, because it makes you feel like you're not good enough, because it's like, well, why am I not getting, like, as I did, like you said, I did everything I was told to do. I went to school, I got the degrees, I got the certifications, and I'm still not getting hired. And it's like certain people, I believe they're not meant to be. And for some people, you just might be in between jobs right now. But a lot of us, I feel like you listening, you might not meant to have one. You know, I saw a video on TikTok. This guy was talking about how he went through with the job, had been waiting for a job so long, got the job. They said he was hired. He never heard from the people again. And then it was, and then he said it was revealed that God had told him, like, I'm not letting you get no job, because you're gonna shrink. Now I know what you're thinking. What you guys, what you're selling. Now look, I know you all are on social media every day, especially people who trying to sell a business. You trying to promote your stuff. You trying to spread your message. You got the calling. You got the word from the Lord. All that good stuff, right? But you don't feel like it. You don't have the time to promote the social media. You don't have the time to create the content calendars. You don't have the time for none of that, right? So that is where my new package comes in. And this is called the Trust Builder Package. All right. So this is for those of you who want to create great social media content, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, YouTube. All right. And you need somebody to do your captions, descriptions for you that are high SEO, that'll get you pushed out there to the masses and to find your personal development audience, because you are more than likely a personal development influencer. So who does this cater to? Coaches and consultants, faith-based leaders, wellness experts, authors, podcasters, motivational speakers, educators, mental health advocates, you name it. All of you who are trying to see the betterment of your community. All right, this package is for you. All right, hit me up in the DM, email me, reach out on the Nazio platform, and I'll hook you up. What's going on, good people? It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood of the PSA, the Mental Health Podcast. And we're here for another episode. I'm excited about this one because I've noticed in my streams, like when I check, especially the audio, visual, not so much for these type of episodes, but when I have when I talked about jobs, like I had one episode from a few seasons ago, I think season 6, and it was like, Dear Millennial, F that job. And then another one where it was like how to be your authentic self at your job. So it's those type of relatable episodes I really feel like really hit with people, and especially with the workforce and the way it looks now. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. Let me get into this week's meme. So the meme for the week reads, you can't get a job because you are the problem. Okay. I'm going to get into that as we go along. Inspiration from this episode comes from one being Proverbs 14:23. It's all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. We're going to get into that later. But also just the fact that I literally, one of my services that I offer, and I've said this before on this podcast, and I'm going to keep saying it, I offer resumes for people. My guest actually knows the person who I did her resume. And she talked about how she done got a 5K increase in a lateral move. Another dude reached out and was like, I got this job because of the resume you did for me. And I can't get no job. Over 500 rejection letters. And yet, still I rise. But the issue with that is just the fact that there's something behind that. You know what I mean? We could think it's, you got a bad rep. That could be the case, but that might not always be the case. We got to get out of the logic that, we can figure out everything. So let me go ahead and get into the next segment for the day, which is happy hour. Now, y'all know I'll be beefing with people. Well, I'll be beefing with like corporations. So I'll be beefing with Sheen, right? Y'all know that it's up with Sheen for the rest of eternity. But you know who else I got beef with? And I think a lot of people should have beef with if you don't. Indeed. Name one person got a job off Indeed. It's quiet for a reason. Nobody gets a job off Indeed. Indeed is fugazi. I think the most I got off Indeed was an interview. I don't even think, and then when you go on there, a lot of the times the jobs will magically be taken down. Then you may find a job and actually email the people, oh, this job has been closed. So why is it still open on the thing? Then you get the job, and if you do get the job, you hate it. You hate the people there, you hate the location. You think Indeed really now is Craigslist. And Craigslist been a sham since back in the day. Like I remember at high school, I knew somebody used to get hookups off of Craigslist. I'm like, you are wilding. Like you gonna end up in somebody's dumpster. You're tripping. But he's still alive, I think. But I don't know. I ain't seen him in a long time. But the point that I'm making is Indeed is a joke. I don't support Indeed. I hope Indeed see this. I'm not. And then Indeed reaching out because I'm in this content creating space. They done got people swindling people, finessing people to trick y'all into believing they work because they got people like, oh, I'm an Indeed partner. You might as well partner with the devil because at this point, it's just a joke. Like there is no point. It's no point. I really want this. I know this is gonna get clipped. I want to know. Tell me your worst Indeed story because I can't say best because you don't have a best one. So I want you to tell me your worst Indeed story. That's all my rant today. It's kind of short, so let me go ahead and move on. All right, y'all. So I have a great guest today. I've known this man for a very long time. Very long time. And to see him doing his stuff in the content creating space and being in the same space as me, somebody that also don't have no job because clearly we are the problem. But I'm gonna break that down a little as I go along because it's not how you think. I mean, it is, but it's not. So let me go ahead and introduce him and let's get started. My guy, what's going on?
What's the word, man?
All right. So obviously my YouTube people can see you, but can you tell the people what's your name, where you from, and then where do you live now?
Yes, sir. It's your boy Glenn, man, Glenn Bradford from St. Louis, Missouri, straight out. You see the fitted. But I'm currently in Kansas City. I do a lot of back and forth with family, helping my nephew out, high school and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm in content space. I create content, sports, media, help businesses, restaurants, anybody looking to up their brand and content, and then in the workforce in IT.
Okay.
It's pretty much
Okay.
been
I
me.
see.
Yep, IT.
Oh,
Yep.
so tell us more about you in the content space. Tell us more about your business. Tell us how it started, all that good stuff. What it is you do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it all started in I said it all started in college, working under the sports information director. They threw me a camera and I did little stuff, with the athletic website and stuff like that. But I found my passion behind the camera, which was taking pictures. And so after I graduated, I created my own business called Tough Enough. Tough Enough Photography is where it started at, but now it's just Tough Enough. We do photography, videography. Um, my niche my strong niche is sports, but we have done weddings. I got a partner named Gerald McBurrows. He's out in Houston now. We was in Dallas together, but yeah, we do everything, man. I like helping people, whether that's helping them with their business to bring in revenue, or just help spread their awareness with content, photos, and video marketing.
Okay. So when you talk about your brand, so it's called Tough Enough, right?
Yes, sir.
What is tough enough to you? Like why that name? What made that stand out?
Hey, that's a good question. That name came from my late grandfather that passed while I was in college.
Okay.
That's what he instilled in me was you got to be tough enough. So like even before walking in the door, he'd make me put my dukes up and kind of like defend myself. Basically, like what I got out of that as a kid, we all gonna go through things. We're gonna face adversity. Tough times, and you just got to remain tough enough. Not never put your head down. Try to figure out what can you do, and always look at the controllables, what you can
Yeah.
control, nothing else. And that's kind of what he instilled with me, and I want to keep that legacy alive with naming my brand Tough Enough.
Okay. I think that's good because, like I said, I usually every name for whatever it is people do, there's always a reason for it, and
Absolutely.
so I think that a lot of times, like sometimes people just throw out names just to say. But I think what would be good for any content creator, any brand, is to go to the root of why you calling something that, and really go into what does it mean to you. It's kind of like a tattoo because it's permanent, right?
Mhm.
Again, me with business, you can't change the name later, but it's just like if you do it like a tattoo, going in there thinking, let me not get something that's stupid or just look cool. Let me get something
Yeah,
that actually has meaning because then it's gonna mean something to you. So,
yeah.
tough enough. Okay, good stuff. So now let's get into it. When we talking about resilience, right? You tough enough. Obviously, you got some form of resilience. You talked about living
Mhm.
in St. Louis, living in Kansas City, living in Dallas. Now back between Kansas City and St. Louis. So, what is it? What do you think when it comes to men, as far as understanding? How I want to ask this. What do you think about men and resilience, and especially when life does humble you?
I think I think I talk to people about this all the time. I think as kids, that's where we get our resilience from, kind of like through
Yeah,
sports. A lot of men play sports. And so like we can get humbled on the field, we can get humbled on the court, and then these things translate to real life experiences. And so when you go through it in real life, like for me, like, losing a job or not getting the bookings you expect or something like that, like it's not necessarily always you. You know what I'm saying? It's things that you can improve. And it's just having that mindset of seeing like the greater side of things, not staying in the negative light. Things do happen. I'm sure everybody has emotions and, feel a way about things, but I feel like people have to be able to control those emotions, accept it, but also see the positive of it versus the negative. And I think
yeah,
that's the resilience part of it. I know I do well with that. I don't sit too much in the negative. I'm always thinking of the positive and being on the bright side of things, even though when I go through things
yeah,
and speaking that into existence and staying in that positive mindset, because you can get bogged in a fog, I would say, in a drought, being in your negative thoughts. So I just try not to sit there, even though when you go through things and just always think of positive things. Like, all
no,
right, I'm going through this, but yeah, when I get this, I'm gonna make more money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
just always
that's
countering that.
yeah. I seen a post. It was a video I reposted. It was like 9 to 5 broke and entrepreneur broke is not the same thing.
No,
um, it's crazy because when I remember when I was a teacher, like you would think you was broke, but it's like you're gonna get paid either. In some
either
cases, it
way,
was 2 weeks or it was a month, but you knew you was
right?
gonna get money again. Like when you entrepreneur, I mean, it's been months, weeks. I didn't come up on 2K. Then there's another week I came up on probably $20, and it's
Man,
like what do you do in this situation? But I think that too, a lot of times men get caught up in, and another time I remember my wallet had got stolen. And you talk about dwelling on the negative. And I was mad for a minute, and I was like, I ain't got no money in them cars, no way. So it ain't like they finna rob me. So it's like, it is what it is. Y'all just got my cars. I'm just gonna get some new ones. But I think that life has a funny way of humbling you. I think, I know it talks about like in the Bible stuff, like being humble so that you don't have to get like staying humble so you don't have to get humbled because getting humbled can be embarrassing,
Mhm,
especially if you out here like super prideful and stuff. And as men, that's easy to do, especially when it's like, I'm paying all these bills, y'all eating because of me. And it's like that can easily flip just that fast.
for sure.
So you briefly talked about a job. So when is the last time you actually had like a corporate, like regular job?
Um, I would say right now I have a job,
Okay.
but it's not a job that I'm in desire of. It's been the job that I had um since 2018. But I just ended a contract for 2 years. I was with WashU as a business analyst. That contract just ended. So like I go from basically with two jobs combined making six figures to now back to the same job that is paying me way undervalued. And so now it's like again, now I feel the weight of, the economy growing now that I'm back into this undervalued paid job.
Yeah.
Um, and now basically it feels like it's no job, with it's not matching up to market value. So, but I got a bridge in between other things, with my entrepreneur, my business itself that helps bridge the gap, in the meantime. But I have a goal of working in corporate to at least 35, maximum 40. You know what I'm saying? Making sure I max out that 401k and getting to, where I'm supposed to be at that six-figure level, where we at in our careers. Like we done graduated college in 2016. And so now we're approaching 10 years of experience basically in the workforce. So like it's there for us, but I know it's getting a lot harder with the way the market is. And I think it's more so of now us being black and they know that the way the market is, you have to pay according to market. In most cases you do. And that means a lot of people now in our age and the ones that's educated and went to college, like that's a six-figure range.
Yeah.
And corporate businesses and people who cut those checks know what they do for people, family behind that. So I think that's the biggest thing right now. Um, but yeah, the market, nah,
Crazy.
like I feel like I have no job with how being told in the last meeting that nobody's getting raises or promotions. Like,
Yeah.
and this is a big company named Oracle. It was Cerner before, but now I work for Oracle, and it's like you've been told in a meeting, you've been at this company for 7 years, and they sold, but basically since I've been here 7 years, we had three reviews because
Mm.
I started in 18. I got one when I first came in for like the first 6 months. All right, boom. That was like 3%. Then 19, I think we got one. I think we got one right. And then 2020 COVID.
Yeah.
2021, they canceled the year of 2020. Then they combined 2020 and 21 together. So then in 22 we got another one, I believe, and then that's when they sold the company. So
Yeah.
then I think that even got washed away. And Oracle made it got us one last year, but it was nothing. It was pennies. And then now we just get another year under Oracle where it's like, all right, no raises or promotions, but you send out that you're making money, your revenue is growing. But
Yeah.
those things are the uncontrollable, the things I spoke on before. Those are the uncontrollable things. And you got to do your part outside of that. Like, you got to figure it out.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that when we usually see stagnation in the area or where something is just keeps clashing, that's usually the earthly sign that you need to leave that alone.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do because it's like, well, what am I gonna do? If I just see, in my case, I was forced out because the
Mhm.
last school that I worked at shut down and schools don't shut down. So I kind of took that like, well, okay, well, maybe let's just see what happens. And like I said, for me, I was applying to all them different types of jobs. And I even started back applying to education, jobs in education. And they still told me no. I would usually get to the final interview, final round, probably 7, 8 times. And then they'd be like, nah, we want somebody else only for them to open the job back up again. So I'm like, clearly, you should have just picked me. But whatever. This is for anybody who think they want to start a podcast. So is it you? Do you think you want to start a podcast? Cool. Let's be real. Watch this. So we don't need another podcast that sound like everybody else, right? We got enough of them. We're gonna talk about those today. But saying the same stuff with no structure, no message, no plan, that ain't good. Now that's where I come in. Me right here, Head Honcho. All right. So I have a new podcast package. It's called the Legacy Launchpad. Now, what is this? This is for podcasters who fall in the personal development influencer space. So, who is that? That would be obviously personal development. That's pretty broad, but coaches and speakers, Christian based influencers, faith influencers, maybe a pastor, a church, any type of course creator, education, mental health, wellness, nutritionist, all that good stuff. If you are trying to help the betterment of other people, fitness too, then this is for you. I will help you build your podcast from the ground up. This includes toning up, giving you the message, your niche, your show structure, the episode outlines, the intros, outros, descriptions, all of it. You show up to record and I build your legacy. If you're ready to stop playing, let's get it cracking. All right. So now I got a few words. I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. There is no right or wrong answer. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The first word is problem.
Difficult.
Work.
Challenging.
Job.
Job. Trading time for service.
All right. So the definition of problem is a situation, condition, or issue that creates difficulty, uncertainty, or conflict and requires a solution. Purposeful effort or activity done to achieve a goal, produce something of value, or fulfill a responsibility. And then a job is a specific position of employment with defined duties and pay, usually within an organization. All right. And then it says, unlike work, a job is the actual role that provides income, the missing piece when a man's effort goes unrewarded. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the next segment for today, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? And we know when it comes to mental health, the definition is the study of how we act, think, and feel. So you are still basically, we could assume you in like a season of waiting, like you're waiting on that, like, right opportunity, that right job. You have had your name as demand of the year since you was probably 13. And so I know you waiting for that moment. I got a homegirl in college. Her Instagram name to this day is waiting for my moment still. And I just be like, you still waiting for your moment? Um, what can you describe what it's like being in a season where you are waiting for something and it's like you doing everything you know you can do. You showing up here, you updating this,
Yeah.
what's that like?
Um, that it's frustrating at times. I can say that. Like,
For sure.
it's frustrating at times. Sometimes you got to vent. Like that was me recently. I had to vent. Basically, I made a LinkedIn post about my frustrations. Like I said, I don't sit on them, but you still got to get it out. Um, because I do. It's never gonna get lack of effort from me. Like I'm gonna do what's necessary. I'm gonna do what's even more, required for me. Like I'm working on certifications in the meantime. Um, and then updating the resume to try to make it sure it passes the ATS scanning and all this new shit. And it's like reaching out to people on LinkedIn. You like trying so many things. Like I'm going to try, and then what I'm saying. You can't go through the door if you don't try to go through it. So it's like you got to try. It's definitely frustrating, and it's like you ain't gonna get results right away. You know what I'm saying? Everything not gonna get answered when you want it to be answered. But you got to have faith and keep believing and keep doing your part. I would say, but I don't know, man. It's something that I try to get my peoples to understand. Like my pops, pops. You know what I'm saying? Old school, just like all that shit back in the day. Put on a suit and walk in and all that. That's old with. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it to them because it's hard for them to understand like where the economy is right now.
Yeah.
They know we educated and we went to school and got a degree, but it's like now it seems like that's even at this point worthless. With how things are. Um, and of course, like I know a lot of people not looking to go back to school and obtain masters and shit like that. So
Yeah.
I know within my field, IT, you can get certifications. Anybody looking for a career change, man, and you want to get into IT, certifications is probably the way. Um, and it's just obtaining those things. And that's what I'm doing. It's like now I'm just on the focus of obtaining certification in each cloud base, Microsoft, Oracle, Amazon. So then now, going forward, like I said, the goal is to be done 35, 40. But like now I feel like if I can get all those certifications, slap them on a resume, there's no way in hell I should go without a job in a week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like doing what's I would say do what will put you in a position where they can't deny you. Right now, a degree can deny you. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Um, and also look at where you want to go. So if you want to do something certain, if you want to be a project manager, well, go look at what fucking certifications you need to be a project manager. Like
Yeah.
that's if you want to be in corporate America. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you don't, entrepreneurship is not easy either. Like you said, you didn't made 2,000, and next thing you know, you ain't got nothing coming in. Like my biggest contract was like 20 in a year, but then I don't have it no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like how to get back there is not easy. You know what I'm saying? With I think right now the biggest challenge with entrepreneurship I would probably see and what I see going forward is with the economy getting tougher. I think people are going to hold on to the dollar more. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So do I really need this cameraman to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, or do I need you to do this type of work for me in entrepreneurship, or do I need to spend this money to train, or do I just work out at home? Like,
Yeah.
because you look at the averages on rent, car note, all the major things. A lot of people, on average, I do all this type of research. Like on average, average person make 62. You know what I'm saying? Well, the average rent 1,700. So I'm saying like after taxes, you probably got a check left. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or if you got a kid, now that's like you start looking at it with the way the economy is, your money evaporating quicker than you can even think about it. So without investments, which I think in our generation, the millennials, the ones that went to college, I don't think we have a whole bunch of investment properties. You know what I'm saying? Like where
Mm-hmm.
bringing in money overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a vending machine, like
Yeah.
to bring in a couple dollars, but it's nothing life changing. But I think we the ones that was told to go to school, get an education, but now figuring out that hey, shit, we did that, and now we getting let go from jobs. So it's like, and then the older generation, not to go on a rant, but like the older generation didn't go to college, so
Yeah.
like they don't have the student loan debt and things like that. So we have a bigger hill to climb. Is like I said, I think that's where you're seeing more of the mental toll, um, because it's like it's compact on us, and this is what we was told to do.
Yeah.
So
I think it's interesting because you said that you made the comment, you talking about talking to your dad, and I actually talked to mine the other day about it because like he know my situation, and I said clearly in my case, God don't want me to go back to no job, and here's why I believe that, because if I would go back, I would settle, and I would just kind of keep going through the motions. So when I hear you say you getting all these certifications and things, part of me wants to say I like that you're doing that, but the other part of me feel like you need to dedicate 3 to 6 months to just say I'm just gonna worry about this, and if I gotta do the certifications, I'm gonna do it. Only because I look at my situation, and although it was tough for the while that I went through it, I was forced to get these contracts and get these people. And then my daddy, of course, challenged that with the logic of, hypothetically, what if these people get sick? I mean, I hear you, but working with all these people that I work with, now my resume has gone up. And also a little tip that I usually will give on something I'll give here on the podcast with, if you have a resume and you are creative and you have a regular job, they need to be separate. So you need to have I call it
absolutely.
the creative resume, and then I say like the corporate resume. Like when I was
Hmm.
a teacher, I wasn't gonna have my podcast on a resume for
Yeah,
a job, but then I have my so I think that that's one thing, but also I think you just need to dedicate the time to just say, you know what, I'm not getting rejected for no reason. And I think
yeah,
that a lot of times, and the question I was going to ask, which you already kind of answered, was about like self-worth, because it makes you feel like you're not good enough, because it's like, well, why am I not getting, like, as I did, like you said, I did everything I was told to do. I went to school, I got the degrees, I got the certifications, and I'm still not getting hired. And it's like certain people, I believe they're not meant to be. And for some people, you just might be in between jobs right now. But a lot of us, I feel like you listening, you might not meant to have one. You know, I saw a video on TikTok. This guy was talking about how he went through with the job, had been waiting for a job so long, got the job. They said he was hired. He never heard from the people again. And then it was, and then he said it was revealed that God had told him like you not, I'm not letting you get no job because you're gonna shrink, and you supposed to
Mhm.
be, you know, expanding. You shrinking because you just gonna do. Because listen, let me get it one down. You got a job, you got a business. You work your job, you already tired. You know you was supposed to finish this part of your business. You was supposed to reach out. What you gonna say? You tired? I'll send it to him tomorrow. Or I'll do this. Well, maybe I'll call them later. Or if you do it, you're gonna halfway do it because you're tired. You're gonna do just enough versus, you know, your life depending on it. You putting your all into it. So I mean, it was when the lady with the chicken salad was going viral, and somebody made a post and was like, "I'm out here rapping my ass off, and the chicken salad go viral." But I mean, hey, it just this is how the numbers game works. I don't know, and I'm with the social media, so I know how to them. It's just TikTok you can't predict, and that's all I'm gonna say with that. Um, my first source, it says repeated job rejections damage self-esteem and identity. According to Indeed's career guide of all places, Indeed, constant job rejections erode confidence and sense of self-worth, especially for young men who tie identity to their career success. The cycle of silence, no feedback fuels feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt. The second one says unemployment increases risk of social isolation. According to the American Psychological Association, unemployment often isolates men from peers and professional networks, stripping them away from daily structure and community. The isolation can fuel withdrawal and unhealthy coping behaviors. The third one says financial stress impacts physical well being. According to Harvard Health, prolonged joblessness can create chronic financial stress that can take a toll on sleep, appetite, and even cardiovascular health. This stress trickles down to daily functioning, focusing on decision making, which makes the job hunt even harder. Have you ever dumbed down your have you ever dumbed down a job? Like you ever dumbed down going applying for a job you know you was better than, and then they still told you no too?
Yeah, I did that. I did that when I moved to Dallas.
Yeah,
Like, I just wanted something like a little part time, like shit, UPS, Pepsi. Like, nah, like not fucking with you, like at all. Like, because I think it's you see the degree. The degree was
yeah,
still on there. I ain't take that off, but you see the degree. It's like, this fool ain't finna be here long. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
It's
So it's like
unexpected.
I think that's how they look at it. And that was the time I did that, and maybe early coming out of college. Shit, coming out of college where you had that period where it's like, damn, like coming out of college and I still ain't got no job. It's 8 months. Shit. And I'm jobless.
Yeah,
So I'm like, shit, let me try to go to FedEx. Let me Pop got me on at the post office, but that ain't last nothing but 4 weeks. I ain't like how they was talking to people up in there. I ain't gonna do that. But anyway, they talk to people crazy at the post office. If you work at the post office, shout out to you. But you do
yeah.
need some
Right.
mental health. You need therapy for real. Because that's a whole other story. But yeah, I wasn't there for nothing but 4 weeks. One check out of there. Found me a little contractor job at Charter. Um, After that was like my first job, I think, or first bank or something. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I've been there where they ain't they ain't even messing with you that on stuff that you can do, and it's not no degree required, anything like that. Mm-mm. Been there, done that, and I think we touched on it earlier. It's like you're saying like go all in on something else. I feel like I have been getting signs where it's like, man, just go all in on this. Just go all in on the photography, blah blah blah. But with the with how I'm playing it, it's like I really am because I give more time to that than I do my job. Like
Yeah,
I finesse my job where I'm at now, where it's like, motherfucker, I work probably like 2-3 hours a day, and that might be the last couple hours of the day. But meantime, I'm over here trying to build this. You know what I'm saying? I'm working with this. on the business. This is while I'm working, opposed to the main thing. So
Let me ask this question. Who are you following on social media? And I said it because if you following a lot of people, you see the stuff that I see. Where you ever seen them posts where it be like looking for a photographer paid, da 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 da, we'll fly you out, like those type of situations where, and I'm not a photographer, but like I see those posts a lot if you follow the right people, where they looking for those creators, because a lot of times them opportunities that I've gotten for me either usually fall out the sky. Literally, it's like somebody know me, said, "Hey, I need, can you, or it'll just be like that." So, I mean, I know you networking, but I think
hmm
that you need to maybe start to play them social media games. Because see, I play social media games, which is I follow people and I just engage with people and I just talk to people, and then they see what you're doing and what you got going, and you never know who knows who, and like,
right,
hey, so that's just a suggestion because
yeah,
I've seen it work. I know sometimes being where
yeah.
we from, that's not, you know,
No, absolutely. Networking is actually key. That has worked for me more in spaces with um, the sports realm. Getting now where it's like I'm at a level where now I'm getting access to shoot college football, WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I run into different people that they may have a project and they can bring you along and things like that. So in that space, yes. But what I see on my socials is more people I follow is more so like um, kind of like trying to help you find clients. You know what I'm saying? So like
yeah,
how can you set up your business where you can get clients come to you organically, not this B2B door to door thing, you know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
reaching out, blah, blah, blah. So I'm seeing more of that on my platforms, and then also, these starting to see more of the AI things and how to grow on this and that. And it's like, I'm not paying for that shit. I'd rather pay for a paid ad behind a video, saying something about my services and getting me reached that way, stuff like that. And it's just like it's constant learning. And I don't have no problem learning, as learning certifications outside of work, just lifestyle, learning how to snowboard at the beginning of the year. Like I don't have a problem learning anything. Like learning how to work on my damn car, changing spark
yeah,
plugs, all that shit. Like I don't have a problem learning. Um, so I think it's just that's what you have to do, whether
yeah,
it's your business, corporate, whatever you want in life. You got to continue to learn. 'Cause you can't
yeah.
stay stagnant. So if
No,
you
for
want to
sure.
save $1 and fix your car yourself and do it yourself, well, you're gonna have to do some motherfucking learning. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I am because the economy, like I'm going to start doing more things myself versus overpaying for somebody that's gonna do it in 30 minutes, an hour. I'll learn the shit myself, do it myself, rather than building something in the house. Fucking I'm about ready to start learning how to grow my damn fruit because hell, this shit getting expensive.
Yeah, they playing with it. With tip to that, I learned keep the seeds from the fruit you're getting, and put them in the freezer.
Yeah.
Um, the fourth one, lack of purpose can weaken motivation and hope. According to psychology today, meaningful work is tied to a sense of purpose. When men feel stuck, working hard with no payoff, motivation to keep trying can crash, leading to a loop of procrastination and self-sabotage that blocks new opportunities. So that's something else to keep in mind. All right, now let's jump to the next segment for today, which is man to man. And in this segment, I asked them just a few questions and just kind of go. A lot of the questions, I ain't gonna lie, kind of was answered already just because the way the conversation was flowing. But what do you say to somebody that's not you, who strong resume, no callbacks,
Mm.
and he starts to feel less than a man? What would you say to him?
Man, that's crazy. Like I had this conversation with some of my partners because we all going through the same thing.
Yeah,
So it's like we didn't have these man to mans, like you saying, like great headline. Like it's for me, it's like I said, I'm always positive. Like I have to be positive even when they're down. You know what I'm saying? Man to man. Like I understand exactly what you're feeling. I been there. But let's look at the positive side. You got a roof over your head. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? You can feed yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can still do everything you needed. You're waking up every day blessed. That's a blessing. So let's just figure out how to get forward, or whatever with the controllable things like I touched on earlier. Let's always focus on the controllables. I know we get the rejection email within 15 minutes sometimes. It ain't nothing we could do about it. You didn't change your resume. You didn't think you didn't update it where it passed the scanner and all that type of shit. Most of the times right now, it's not working. You know what I'm saying? So, and it doesn't mean stop trying. You know what I'm saying? Especially if there's something you're going for. So it's like never give up. I'm never gonna be like, man, you know what? Fuck it. Nah. We're gonna keep trying. We're gonna keep tweaking it. We're gonna keep trying to adjust it. Like we're gonna keep trying to figure it out for sure. And then, all right, what's the next step? Well, let's find these people on LinkedIn. Fuck it. That's the job you're looking at. Well, let's add 20 people on LinkedIn. Let's see if we can get a referral. Because
Yeah.
code applying not working. So let's see if we can get the referral. I did recently, in my example, like I said, not to talk about me, but my example, I did do that, and somebody responded back on LinkedIn, had a nice conversation, and ended up referring me for the job. And they did get a call for an interview. So it's like, is that the way? You know what I'm saying? It's like, but now I can go back to my partner or, hey, this worked for me. Let's try this. You know what I'm saying? It's like right now it's trial and error if you're trying to get an opportunity in the corporate space. You know what I'm saying? Even entrepreneurship, you don't know everything, so you try things. Well, I'm gonna try to run this promotion if I'm selling clothes and see if I can get more sales. And you know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna do a pop-up shop. Like you're trying things even as an entrepreneur to figure out. So it's the same thing, but you like you said, being entrepreneur broke and corporate broke is two different things. They both too different, but you still it's like the same formula almost. You're still doing it the same way.
So, what would you say, being from St. Louis, because you know how they think? Because I'm gonna say something. I want to hear what you got to say, but I'm gonna ask. I want you to say afterwards. So, what do you say, being from St. Louis, to the upcoming young black male entrepreneur who feels like he shouldn't lower his price or do things for free? And now, watch this. So, I watch a lot of vlogs, right? I vlog too, but I watch a lot of vlogs, and I see a lot of those fashion influencers and things. And people sleep on sending them free clothes because you send them free clothes. They be like, send it to my P.O. box. I'm gonna try it on. I'm gonna give you a review. A lot of times in their vlogs and stuff. So, like, here's my P.O. box. A lot of times we'll think, not me, but people think I'm not giving them nothing free, but you're missing out on exposure because you don't want to do it. Either cut your price down or do it for free. And there's so many people from the area that I talk to that live out here that I be talking to, like, I ain't doing that for free. I'll be like, y'all, you don't missing out on word of mouth. Like, literally, I was just in Atlanta for Black Effect with Jay Barnett backstage with Charlemagne and Tyrese, all of them,
Hmm.
because I worked on his team and now he paid me now, but I was doing stuff like low key for low price and for free, and look where it got me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like people overlook that. What's your response? What would you say to them? Because you
I
still
would
in here.
say, yeah, I would say one, it depends on where you at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, um, and like you said, the benefit of it. Do you see the benefit of, all right, I'm gonna get a shirt for free? You know what I'm saying? Because if they were, you can post it, website, that might generate you more sales. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like, for me, if I'm trying to connect with a restaurant and this is that, hey, I might go patronize their business, one, buy their product, food service or whatever it is, drink or whatever. And hey, I may say, hey, I offer you, shoot some free content for you for, commercial reel, you know what I'm saying? And see if that can lead to a retainer based on what I provide. You know what I'm saying? Because now I want to go for consistency with, all right, I want to get out of corporate America, but how do I get out of it? Well, I got to have retainers that pay me monthly, whether
Yeah.
that's for 6 to a year. So now I can know, like, all right, I got 10 retainers. That's for a year. Well, shit, if they pay me 1,000, where there go 12,000. You know what I'm saying? Like now I could strategically walk away from corporate knowing what I have done. But you're not just gonna get their retainer by just going in there. Yeah, I charge this, this, and that. Like, no, you got to show what you're capable
Sure.
of first. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know you talented, but they don't know you, nor do they trust you yet.
Yeah.
And you have to build that. It's more about building relationships versus anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I think there's a lot of people that's talented, but they don't have the relationship skills or the people skills to work with other people. Whereas, again, everybody's going to value a dollar and keep it close. So if I
Right.
don't trust you or I don't have a relationship with you, why would I pay you? It's
Yeah.
just like you got a barber. Like you don't go to no really other barber because you trust that your barber gonna get you right. Now it's hard to go to
Yeah.
somebody else and then you to gave them now $50 and your shit sideways a little bit. You're like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? And now you never coming back. Like,
Yeah.
so I think it's just important to build relationships and understanding that, like, if this is gonna be valued, or I give some free stuff, and I could build a relationship, and they're gonna keep coming back to me, by all
Yeah.
means, because in the long run, it'll pay off. And I'm actually doing that right now with the top boxer in Kansas City, and I got connected through him with somebody else that seen my work and respected my work, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like, all right, y'all want consistent content, this, and that, boom, boom, boom. And like, y'all don't really have the funds even, yet because he hasn't turned pro. He was still amateur, about to turn pro in a couple of years, but now he's pro. And it's like, I have grown his platform to a whole nother level. He went viral before I got there, but they want to keep that momentum. And that's how I got involved. So it's like, ever since, I'm like, the big picture, hell, I might be the man, like, you know, he can turn out to be Tank Davis and one of the top boxers in the world, and I'm the cameraman. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because I built a relationship first. It's not always about the dollar. I think it's relationship first.
Yeah. And I agree. And that's the thing too. And that's the main thing with relationship, because a lot of these people, especially the young ones, they think they got it figured out. They think they got it all. The YNs, you can't tell them nothing. Even with that, like it was a situation where technically I got a retainer fee recently and I'm undercharged or underpaid, I should say. But I'm okay with that because we already decided that, how he literally came out of thin air. And he got the bread. I'm gonna tell you how I know he got the bread after this. I ain't gonna say it online, but he got the bread. And so I'm charging him this much, but I said like 2 to 3 months, in like 3 months, we're gonna come back and say, hey, this was cool, but I'm gonna move forward, or we're gonna keep this going. I said, and then we'll increase the
Right.
price. And he calls me every week and like, oh my God, you did this for me. This is happening for me. You got me this. So now I can really charge what I want because one, I know you got the money, and two, I didn't prove
Mhm.
myself. But see, people don't feel like
Right.
they have to prove themselves, and it's like you have everything is an interview, whether it's a date, whether it's like you said, you showing them to the restaurant. Everything is an interview. People don't know you, and even if they know you, they still don't really know you. So they have to
Yeah.
see for themselves. So that's why they say everything you do, you got to show out the first time. So then that way you ain't gotta, you know, you
Yeah.
ain't gotta.
And that can in that situation it can go either way because I've been there where it went the other way, where like I said, I had with this retainer we made 20 within a year. It was actually um helping this program called Dream All American, and they have kids playing the NFL stadiums. It's like your Under Armour game or something like this, but a lower level or whatever. But they needed help with content and got put in contact. This is when I was in Dallas, and over each project, each one, we're getting better, but it's only a two-man crew, and
Yeah,
so like I approached them like, hey, we can push this to a whole nother level if we can increase the budget on this end where I can bring in more shooters. So then the turnaround time is faster. You know what I'm saying? Now I got the editors blah blah blah. Not, you know what I'm saying, you expect a turnaround within this time frame, and it's like, well, we got a whole bunch of footage of 3 games that we trying to go through and stuff like that. So I was looking to improve it, and then it's like I feel like he wanted to go a different direction and not spend more, so he went with less. Because the first one we did way undervalued. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the first one, my first big contract landing, and then we got it to a medium ground where that was consistent. But then, you know, you approached me about how to improve it, and then, you know, this is what's needed to improve it. And I was like, you know, some people don't want to get that initiative um,
Yeah,
on that part of it sometimes.
yeah, and that's when you kind of got to move around. And even
And
yesterday,
you, you got to know your worth. You just got to know your worth at that point. Like, kind
yeah.
of. And like I said, they got to make the decision if they want to continue. So they, like I said, that was something. But we go ahead.
No, I was just saying that even yesterday, my homeboys they had their own production team, and it's funny how they was there because this is podcasters that I met at Podfest who live in Houston. They're a couple, and they wanted me on their
Mm-hmm.
podcast. So when I walked in, I know them, the production team, like I know them. I'm like, they like, what you doing? I'm like, what y'all doing here? So it was just like, how you know them? How you know them? And so I did their podcast, and I was telling the dude, I was like, yeah. He was like, because he used to be a teacher too. And he was like, he been just doing, they was at the BET Awards this year and everything. And I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, their production team, that was like, so I had made one of the questions they asked me on the episode was like, how do you do this? That was like, how do you, it was like dating and multitasking. I said, well, I'm good at multitasking because I said I run multiple businesses at once with multiple clients for my business. And I like did something stupid. I looked in the camera. And so after that, he was just like, yeah, so we thinking about adding some stuff, some like blogs and stuff to the website and all this stuff. I said, so instead of having the regular person do it, you might as well have somebody on the team that do it. And so they joking was like, you want to get on the team? I said, let's do it. I said, because it
Yeah.
make more sense. Because they was like, what can you write? I said, I literally have done it all. I do technical writing, grant writing, classes, which I'm retiring after 2025. I'm tired of doing people homework. But I'm tired of it. I ain't got another discussion board in me.
Yeah.
But I didn't wrote manuals for companies before. I didn't done some stuff. And my
Yeah.
favorite is doing like the social media podcasts and stuff. Like for the dude Jay, I'm doing his whole
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel, like all the descriptions, all the titles, and it's
Nice.
going up. He started in April. He had 13K on YouTube right now. So
Nice.
his descriptions for the audio, I do that. Well, they edit that, but that's whatever. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and he got to deal with iHeartRadio. You know what I mean? Him and Charlamagne like
Mm-hmm.
best friends. So it's
Yeah.
like, like I'm there basically. It's just
Yeah.
keep being me and keep staying humble, and that's really all you can do because you just never know who's gonna blow up. And that's why even like with you stand close to
Yeah.
that boxer, you never know who gonna blow up, and they gonna remember when they was
Right.
nobody and you was there doing what you was doing with them.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's crazy that it's crazy how it all came about because it's like I went on my partner podcast. It was 2 years ago now. Um, Around February, I went on my partner podcast from college, I-70 podcast, my boy John. I went on his podcast, and the people, the production helping him, who put me in contact because they own the boxing gym that been trading the kid. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's how that all came about. And then even now, Leo, Eastside, like he's creating something more so it's called NSPN, where it's more so like Netflix, and now he's bringing all the top creators in Kansas City together, where it's like, now I might be running the director of photography for this and the boxing league and all this stuff, where it's like it can grow to something bigger just off of relationship, what I was saying earlier. Like my relationship and pull it up on my partner podcast led to this relationship with the gym that led me to this boxer. Now I have a relationship with them, and now other people are starting to reach out because that content is so much. You know what I'm saying? It comes from a relationship, just being good to
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
All right, now let's move to the final segment for the day, which is the weekly sabbatical. And we just gonna go back to the beginning. I guess you can call it that. So you already said when you had the passion for photography, right?
Yeah.
And what was it? What picture you took? What went viral? What was it that where you knew you was one of them ones with the camera? Like you said, I know, like I know.
Yeah, man. I knew I had so starting off, I knew I had an eye for things because I played it. So I know kind of that's like I said, I started off in sports if you don't remember, but I started off in sports and I had an eye for it. So I was capturing good pictures, but it wasn't good enough for me. And
Yeah.
the why is because I hadn't learned the camera yet. So some of my photos are still a little bit blurry, more action shots when they running. And I had to upgrade my camera and stuff. That was part of it too, but also my settings. But when I knew I was that guy is when I got a text and I think I was asleep. And my partners in the group chat hit me and was like, nigga, like Lamar Jackson just shared your photo.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
and this is from shooting it from the stands.
Yeah.
And it's like, I woke up to that. I'm like, nah, you lying. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
that's when it was like, yeah, because this is only like 2 years removed after school, though. This is like
Yeah.
2018. So like this is I'm investing in my camera. I'm still doing a whole bunch of learning. But when you have somebody at that level, the NFL, a star-studded quarterback, one of my favorite teams, but for a person to show you on that level, boom. All right. Then the following year, another player did. You know what I'm saying? And then now, as you see it now, like I done had Shadur, and I have a lot of players, Kanye Anthony, you know what I'm saying? Some of the soccer players, like where they would share the work. Like it's nothing but a tag, but they don't always share it. And when they share it, that's like a respect. It's like a nod, like, yeah, this is tough. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I was like, yeah, I know. I know I was that nigga in
You knew you was there.
2018. I was just starting off, you know what I'm saying? And then it's
Yeah.
just let's keep building on this and stuff like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
and that's from the stands. I couldn't imagine getting onto my goal is to get onto the NFL sidelines. I couldn't imagine what I would do on the NFL sideline. I'm on the college sidelines and stuff like that, but NFL and I'm able to move around free Randy and do what I do. Uh,
And,
Yeah,
and
I'll be
and just
building.
so
I'll be
many.
building more relationships with players, and they'd be hitting me up for off-season workouts and all type of stuff.
But that's what I'm saying, because you could easily get some of them players and they could easily put you on a 4 or 5K retainer fee a month, like, and that ain't nothing for them. And
Yeah,
just imagine,
absolutely.
it's gonna get to the point where you're gonna have to have a team where it's like, I get a percentage of what y'all get, but you know what I'm saying? Because it's your stuff. So
Yeah,
like if they get you get maybe 20% of whatever they, so that's what I'm saying. It's definitely,
Maybe.
but I'm gonna give you some more suggestions off air, because we can't give it all away.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say to somebody, is your honest opinion, who they felt like, well, I ain't gonna say fuck, 'cause sometimes you'll get the signs are there. That's what you keep saying, signs be there. God said leave your job and you don't have nothing lined up. Because see, I was forced out, so it was a little different.
Mhm.
But like, what would you say to somebody? I would really say make sure you really heard that, but it be stuff like that do be happening. So what would you say to that person?
I mean, I would say you got to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
Uh, for me, and you got to do what's best for you. I know for me, I'm more plan oriented. Sometimes the plan don't work. We know that, but for my peace of mind, it's things I have to check off first before I just, all right, let me just, walk with God and he gonna do this, this, and that. Like, of course, I want to walk with God, and that could be a real, real bumpy road. You know what I'm saying? At first, and you do prevail. Not everybody prevail when they just walk away and leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really hear from them people when they chose that decision and it didn't work out. But you'll hear from
Yeah.
them if it did work out. And that's not everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think the people that do work out for it is more plan oriented. It's not just up in the blue. Like you said, unless you're forced out. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not forced out, and I think it needs to be a plan executed first that that grants you your exit.
Yeah.
Um, and you walk with God that way versus all right, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you gotta have you gotta have a plan in place. Like,
Well, sometimes I think too, emotions can't get the best of you, especially if you're dealing with a petty
mhm,
job. Like I had one job where literally I said, somebody asked, did I like the job? I said, I'm thankful for this position. I said, because I make more and I do less than I did at the last job. That's what I said. They heard and told everybody that I told them that I make more than you and I do less than you. I did not say that. And so ever since then, like I had hell at that job. That comment just started us. They just hated me
Yeah.
there. I'm like, nah, see, but so and this is just a
Yeah,
sidebar. Like, if you do have a regular job, watch what you say at them jobs, because you be thinking people be
absolutely.
cool, and then it
Nah,
just be too
yeah.
much.
You definitely gotta watch what you say, especially when you black. You know,
Yeah,
you
and they was
like I
black,
said,
and they wasn't black. They was niggas. It's a difference. That's how it be. I've had easier. I've had easier um times at jobs when it was non-black versus when it be black.
yeah.
And usually, like I said, but there's a difference between black folks and niggas. And I've worked jobs with niggas and I've worked jobs with black folks. There's a difference. That job was some niggas, and I'm like, y'all really hating. Like it was one.
Yeah, that's
My
that's where
boss
they
had
can't.
told me. What was you saying?
I said, yeah, that's hate. That's what I was saying.
I had my boss told me that one lady was like, "Oh, we know he about to go out of town. He got his little haircut. Like, why?
That's
Why is
crazy.
y'all? That's
That's
ridiculous."
crazy.
And I hope they see this. And I hope they see that.
That's crazy. No, that's hating, envy, jealous. That's all three of those for sure. But yeah, I think yeah, I think it do have to be a plan, unless you forced out, unless it's affecting your, mental. Like you said, we're on a mental health podcast. If it's affecting your mental, yeah, absolutely walk away. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come first at the end of the
Yeah,
day. You gotta put yourself first. Don't ever put your job first. Don't settle for whatever it is. Like I said, you know your value. Don't settle. If you don't think the offer is right, counter. Because if you don't counter and then you accept the job, you're gonna be mad that you're getting paid and they're gonna overwork you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, fight for what you want. If you want remote, fight for remote. Don't settle for the hybrid. Then they're gonna turn around. All right, you've been coming in 3 days. Now you might as well come in the next two. So
yeah,
that's what they're gonna do in most cases now. That's their way of getting back to 5 days a week, start hybrid.
yeah.
But yeah, don't settle. Know your worth. Know your value. And
You teach people how to treat you. And if y'all want, I'm gonna do a
yeah.
series on TikTok, and I'm saying it publicly, so I gotta hold myself to it. I'm gonna teach y'all how to write a white woman letter, because that's how Southwest gave me that free flight. And to this day, I modeled it after my mama, because when I was in college, I ain't gonna say my college name right now because they got it together, but they was short on housing one school year, and I was there the
Mm,
whole summer, and I had came back home for like a week, and then I was going back to school. This was before junior year, and they said they ain't had no housing for me. So my mama was like, "You was there the whole summer." So my mama wrote a nice letter and basically threatened to. She said she didn't know what to do. She was like, "At this point, I guess I'm gonna just have to call the news." The whole housing department called my mama phone in an hour, and then they found an apartment for me. I'm like, why was y'all playing? Like, why we got to do all that?
Hey,
But
when I say that's an old school method, bro, like somebody just Tony had to just. My mom was like, "Shit, damn, it was with a truck. You trying to get a truck
you
or
know,
whatever." But it was like, "Shit, if they still on BS, call the news. Call the news." Like that's an old school method, but
that
apparently,
worked.
like threatening to that level, because I guess they don't want that bad exposure. Niggas get acting right, and
Yeah,
sure
you got to
enough,
write
in
a
his
letter like the
situation,
white chicks. Yeah, we got to write a letter. Now, this comes from Desiring God. It's talking about, should I work or wait? While seasons of waiting are real, it talks about the Bible consistently calls believers to be diligent and steward their gifts through work. Sometimes waiting is just disguised as avoidance. Faithful work doesn't always mean a traditional job, but something with what you already have. I know it talks about blessing the works of your hands, and we the difference between a job and working, because you work every day. Like me, I work every day. I don't have
hmm
no job. I ain't work yesterday, but I work every day. I just don't have no job. So, like, we have to stop overlooking what we do have, because like the old school generation will tell you, well, you need to get some benefits and all that. But again, like in a case like mine, they won't let me in. I'm knocking on every door they won't let me in. So I can't get them. They got to get it through the marketplace. But the point that I'm making is you need to still say, okay, what can I be doing right now? You know what I'm saying? There's so many things you can do. You can sell products, you can sell ebooks, you can sell, you know what I
Yep.
mean? It's so many things you could be working
So,
on right now that people don't even think about because they so busy trying to work a job or trying to find a job. And like I keep saying, if you're supposed to get a job, this might just be your season where you got to get yourself together for your next job. But for a lot of us, you ain't going back.
yeah.
So
Nah, I agree, and that's actually it's funny. It's something that I'm working on, even though I got the shit. But that's something I'm working on. Is basically monetizing my life. I have all the camera equipment. I could do so much, and that's kind of like where I want to say that I would be a content creator. Is
yeah,
more of a content educator. Through my life though, like I can teach you how to what camera settings to do to get these shots. I can teach you how to light a room for an interview. I can teach you things, and I feel like from what I see and study on the platforms that are succeeding, is that if you're an educator and you're teaching and giving knowledge, it's like it's through the roof. You know what I'm saying? You have the entertainers, you have your Drewskis and all that stuff, but that's entertainment. Everybody not an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? You're not Mojo Jones or DC, this and that. So how can you connect with people that are on their phones 24/7 basically nowadays through your lifestyle where that is not affecting your peace and anything like that. So if I like cars, well, I'm gonna teach you how to shoot cars. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? If I like sports, I'm gonna teach you how to shoot sports. Like that's where I'm at with, monetizing my life and like going forward with going all in on my aspect for
yeah.
sure.
The next one talks about is it okay to quit without another job? It says according to Crosswalk, stepping away without clear direction can be a fake move, but it's just as often fear, pride, or impatience in disguise. It challenged people to examine if they're really trusting God or just avoiding the discomfort and responsibility. And then this one I like, it says, what is God's plan for your work? According to Bible study tools, work is a part of God's original design. He placed Adam in Eden to work and keep it. The Bible warns against idleness. If anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. Purposeful work may look different than a
Mhm.
9 to 5, but that does not mean that is not the plan. So again, that's just the tips for anybody to think like you ain't doing nothing because it's not a typical job and your mom and daddy in your ear, your girlfriend, your wife in your ear, your cousin, that troll with the faceless page is in your ear when you posting something, or keep
Yeah.
that in mind. Um, but for those who are in the position where you may need to go get a job again, this is for both sides of the coin. So it says that this is from refresh your skills, your resume and skills. Don't support them, but they got a point. According to Indeed, job seekers regularly update their resume and add new skills and tailor applications for each role. Small changes make a big difference. So, although you won't put your resume on their website, what you're going to do is when you put it on the other ones, you know what to do with your resume. We talked about it earlier. Forbes says grow your network. According to Forbes, 85% of jobs are filled through networking. That is something that you know what I'm saying. That should tell you right there. Reach out to connections, mentors, or groups. The hidden job market is real. It's like the dark web. You don't see it, but it's there.
Mhm.
Practice your interview story. According to Harvard Business Review, candidates stand out when they practice telling a compelling story of who they are and what they bring, not just repeating their resume. Something that I get caught up with jobs when they ask me, use the whatever job you're going for, know the lingo, know the jargon, know the because you can do that stuff. Because I even learned with me, I was already doing the stuff for the job. I just didn't know
Man,
the technical terms. So when they
yeah,
was like, I'm like, yeah, I wrote this, and they
yeah,
like, and so you know it, but because you don't know the terms,
yeah,
it look like you don't know what you're talking about, but you actually do.
yeah.
Um, the next one, it says stay flexible. According to the balance, gig work, freelancing, or contract roles can build income and experience while waiting for a more stable job. And when we think a more stable job, you might think, I'm gonna do this until I get that job at, whatever company that you got your degree in. But what if the more stable job is a job with BET? What if it is a job with MTV? Or what if it's a job with, in your case, like one of these NFL teams? So that is a stable job because they literally look for what you're doing and will put them on the salary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with benefits. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's my goal is I don't really like I'm doing it the hard way, which is going through my media outlet basically, and it has worked for me with soccer, WNBA, college, but it's harder for the NFL because of TV deals that they have and having CBS and all these other networks there on the sidelines and stuff like that, and the teams, and then all the local outlets. So like I'm not local to Baltimore, which is what I want to shoot. I don't really care for no other team, but um, and that's another reason why it's like my goal is all right, get certified IT, where it's like hell, I can get a job with the Ravens in IT, and guess what I'll be able to do? I'll be able to shoot after that.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm working both angles,
yeah.
whereas, I could just focus on this and blah blah blah. But I'm gonna work both angles so that I have an opportunity either way. You know what I'm saying? And keep doing what I'm doing.
No, for sure. This one is a good one too. It says, "Don't fear the pivot." According to Fast Company, some of the best opportunities come when you pivot industries. Learn a new tech, even start a small business. Being stuck might mean you're called to shift.
Yeah.
And this one actually comes from me. It says, "Be ready for something out of the ordinary. Sometimes the door that God has for you won't look like a 9 to 5 with a badge and a paycheck every other Friday. Stay ready for something that's outside of the box. So it may come in a way you didn't expect. Even when I got that opportunity, it was through a lady who I met at Podfest, and she called me. And originally, when she was on the phone, I was kind of getting frustrated, but someone was like, just relax, because and she connected me with somebody who dropped that back. I'm gonna tell you the story in a few because I'm about to get off. So yeah, yeah. All right. So the question, the challenge for the week is: I want y'all to ask yourself, how do you feel about your job situation now? Whether you do currently have a job, whether you're waiting for a job, whether you called out of a job, or whether you are, yeah. Let me know what you feel about that now. Anything else you want to add today before we go?
Uh, I would say to the people out there that's going through the same struggle, because like I said, when I made my post and I was venting, I had a whole bunch of people hit me in my DMs, expressing the same struggle. People that look just like me and you, women and males. Um, just do like I said, be on consistent learning, protecting your mental. Like I said, it could be frustrating at times. Don't sit there. I always think about the positive things, and keeping faith, even though during the tough times, right? If you did lose your job, or you stagnate, you're looking for a change, or you just don't know which direction to go, just keep your faith. Keep people around you that's more positive too. Um, and like I said, do what you can control. That's the only thing I could keep emphasizing, is just doing what you can control. And I think everything else will work itself out.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, y'all. Thank you again for coming on. Thank y'all for watching again. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And as always, remember, I love us for real.